Hello everyone, welcome to Learn with Amine. A few days ago, I was talked to negatively by one of the viewers because his VFS application was returned to him for a mistake done in the application. That day, I gave it a thought and decided that I'll focus on the positivity and the positive comments that have been done on my video of Indian passport renewal by hundreds of viewers and subscribers. And that day I have also decided to make this video series. This video series will cover the mistakes that can be possibly made by the viewers and the subscribers, and I will think of those mistakes and how to solve them, and I will compile the video. So after I have recorded this video, if I can think of any other mistake that can be possibly humanly done by the viewers, then I would be shooting it and attaching or appending to this particular video, and I'll be re-uploading so that none of my viewers or subscribers does any mistake in the Indian passport renewal and he or she does not have to go through the returning of the application or rejection of the application. So let's get started. Let us talk about the mistake that is done by the applicants in the past. So I am talking about the mistake that is performed by the applicants in the file number. When you are filling the government application form for the Indian passport renewal in abroad through VFS, it is going to ask you for the file number. So many of the applicants have mistaken this file number to be application reference number, and they get confused, where do we get this number from? So this file number is actually the number of the file in the Indian passport office for the old passport that is currently expiring for you and for which you are applying for reissuance or renewal. So in simpler terms, let me show this directly in your old passport. Let us consider that this is your old passport. Now you are applying the reissuance of this passport as this passport is expiring. In this passport, you need to go to the page where there are the details of your parents. So this is the candidate information page which has photograph and signature, and then there is the last page wherein you have the details of the parents. Now in this page there is a last field that is called as file number. This corresponds to the file number when your passport was processed in India, in Indian passport office, and this usually starts with the name of the city, the first three letters where your passport was issued. For example, this particular sample passport was issued in Hyderabad, and the first three letters of the city Hyderabad is HYD, and the file number starts with HYD, and it is a string of alphabets and numbers, and this corresponds to the file number. It is possible that the file number is different from the first three letters of the place of issue, but you understand my point. The file number is mentioned on the last page wherein there are the details of father and mother, and the field is the last field and it is indicated by file number, and this is the number that you need to mention in the government application form where it is asking for file number in the section of previous passport. So previous passport is the passport that is currently expiring or is lost or is damaged, and where it asks for file number, you need to go to the page where there is information of your parents and the last field corresponds to the file number. Now the sample application form where I filled in, so the place of issue was Porbandar and the file number, it starts with the first three letters of the place of issue. So this is about file number. Please do not make a mistake in the file number, otherwise the application is returned. This mistake has been done by an applicant in the past, so I am making this video. Thank you, take care, and all the best. Let us look at another mistake that can be possibly made by a normal person. So firstly, when you are applying or renewing your passport or reissuing your passport, it is going to ask you for reissue reason. And here, if you can see, it is going to ask you one of the compulsory reasons, and this is an additional reason. So you can basically check it or uncheck it. So this is optional, and the last 5 reasons, one of them is compulsorily required. You need to check one of the 5 reasons compulsorily, and this is optional. So depending on your situation, whether the validity has already expired or it is due to expire, or because of the exhaustion of pages you are reissuing your passport, or because the passport is damaged or lost, or validity expired more than 3 years ago. So based on this situation, you need to check one of the 5 below options. So mostly for normal person, it is going to be validity expired within 3 years or due to expire. Now you have checked this. Now let's take a look in change in existing personal particulars. Should we check it or not? Now I'm going to tell you the reasons when you need to check this. If you do not check this and there are changes in your existing personal particulars, then the VFS will return your application. So this is a mistake. Now listen carefully, what existing personal particulars, if they have changed, you need to check this is if your name has changed, if your date of birth has changed, if your signature has changed, or if your appearance has changed, then you need to click on this option. You need to check this. That is the change in existing personal particulars. And another thing is, if at all you are adding a spouse name in your passport, then also you need to click on this option. So check this. Now it is asking you to specify the category within the change in existing personal particulars. It is asking whether your given name has changed, whether your spouse name has changed, or basically what it means is whether you are adding your spouse name when compared to your previous passport which did not have a spouse name. If you have passed 10th class and you want to delete immigration check required, then you can specify this and check on this. And if your date of birth has changed, if your address has changed, if your signature has changed, if your appearance has changed, if your last name has changed. So one of these change in existing personal particulars requires you to check this option. So mostly the mistake that is done by people is that if your signature or appearance have changed, you need to check this box, and if you are adding your spouse name, then you need to check this box and then click on spouse name and then click on any of the additional reasons that is applicable to you, and then you need to click on next. So this is another mistake that is done by the applicants. So please be careful at this stage. Re-evaluate your scenario. If you are changing any existing personal particulars, then you need to check this option and then specify the category of the reason that has changed. One possible mistake that a person can make is with regards to the jurisdiction of the VFS or the Indian Consulate. So first of all, let's go to the google.com, then type Indian Consulate jurisdiction in USA. So this is the website, Embassy of India, Washington, DC jurisdiction. You can click on this and it will not just show the jurisdiction of Washington DC, but it will show the jurisdiction of all states in the United States. So basically, the jurisdiction is not decided on the proximity of an applicant to a particular VFS city or a consulate city, and also it is not by choice. You cannot decide if for example Florida is your favorite city, you cannot apply to if Chicago is your favorite city and you are staying in Ohio, you cannot apply to the Chicago VFS or Chicago Consulate, but you need to submit to the Consulate or the VFS that is part of your jurisdiction. So let's look at it. So Ohio, it is also equidistant from Chicago and New York. Now Ohio, your favorite city is Chicago. You cannot apply to the Consulate General of Chicago or Mission of Chicago or VFS of Chicago, but you need to send it to the New York office because Ohio comes under the jurisdiction of New York. So VFS New York address and Consulate New York, that's where you need to send your application to. When you are selecting your jurisdiction in the VFS portal and in the government application form portal, then you need to take or select the jurisdiction. Select the jurisdiction of New York. You cannot select the jurisdiction of Chicago. So if you are in Bermuda, Delaware, Columbia, Kentucky, Maryland, North Carolina, Virginia and West Virginia, then your Consulate General is Washington DC. You need to select that jurisdiction. And if you are from Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Puerto Rico, South Carolina, Tennessee and Virgin Islands, then you select the jurisdiction of Atlanta. If you are from Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Wisconsin, then you select the jurisdiction of Chicago. If you are from Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, then your jurisdiction is Houston. And if you are from Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island and Vermont, then your jurisdiction is New York. If you are from Arizona, California, Guam, Hawaii, Nevada, Utah, you need to select San Francisco Consulate. Now if you are from Alaska, Idaho, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oregon, South Dakota, Washington and Wyoming, then you need to select the Mission of Seattle. So this is a huge mistake done by the applicants. You need to select the proper jurisdiction on the government application form and on the VFS portal, and then you need to send to the VFS address of that particular mission or Consulate General. So this is one of the mistakes done by my viewer. So please make a note of it.